Hello and welcome back to another Nerf Blaster review video for the channel. My name is Luke Triton and today we are covering the Fang from the AlphaStrike line. Yes, I'm serious, and yes, I'm very happy with what I've been playing with over the past few days. So this is, I believe it's called the Fang, if it'll be correct in the title. I mean, AlphaStrike is not something I go towards, but I was doing some shopping, I saw this in the toy aisle and I thought, you know what, £4, why not, let's buy it, because it's interesting to see what you can actually get with £4, and sometimes it's surprising how good cheaper blasters are. This is a Nerf brand blaster, and the AlphaStrike line is their budget line in comparison to the original Elite 2.0 blasters. It's amazing what you can actually do with a proper budget and with a bit more focus. So yeah, the obligatory AlphaStrike is better than Elite 2.0 comment out of the way. Let's focus on the blaster itself. No tactical rails, no sort of functionality to it, it's just a blaster which is all here. This is the kind of blue shell cover. I don't think this one ever had a sort of name to them. But one thing I believe is different with this version compared to the original yellow one. The grip here has this sort of cover piece, which is a lot more comfortable to handle compared to the yellow one, which had this sort of skeleton handle, which I believe people were saying was not comfortable. And something I've been doing as well, because it's so small and so light, I've been flinging it around my fingers like this. I think every small hand pistol sized blaster should have the ability to do this, because that's like half the fun, right? I mean, who doesn't do this with small hand blasters? So this is a spring power blaster with a T shape. Is it like a T-bar, T-shaped? I don't know, that's not something I've ever learned, because this is the sort of blaster I would go towards. But I believe it's called a T-shaped priming handle, because obviously the T-shape here. So you pull this all the way back and it snaps into place. And then you fire the darts off one at a time, and it goes from top to bottom using a smart air restrictor system. So I do have a few darts here for a reload, and it's amazing how hard this hits. I haven't chronographed it, but just by looking at it with how hard it looks to fire, especially with this sort of scenario with the videos as well, when I go to fire a blaster, I have a wall that's very close to me, and it looks like it hits really hard, especially against other flywheel blasters I've got, which is so bizarre. So just to quickly demonstrate this, volume warning as well, because firing these blasters is always really loud. Darts just disappear whenever I pull the trigger. It's so, again, bizarre. That's probably a word you can hear me say a few more times, but it's just so cool as well. Something that's on such a small budget and something that costs only a few quid. That's so cool, it's amazing. So I'm going to reload. I want to show off a thing I have been practicing. So here's to hoping that I can do it properly. And there is another thing I want to talk about with this blaster before we go to the end of the video. So one thing I've been training myself to do, besides this, again, I can't help myself but do it because it's so easy to do so. You can fire off all 4 shots fairly quickly. Now here's to hoping I don't miss a shot and embarrass myself. There we go. That's 4 darts straight away. That Call of Duty line that's been made famous, that switching to your sidearm is faster than reloading, is true. Especially when you can get 4 darts off like this. So why is this a good blaster? It's mainly because of something that came before it. In the Zombie Strike line, there was a blaster called the Quadrot. It basically looks like this. 4 darts downwards like that, very thin. It was spring powered, so you know, it's basically reliable. But the fact that you can holster this really well was a cool thing about it. Like, people make their own holsters, but even with this, sadly I can't demonstrate this because of the camera angle. I could put this in my pocket. That's my holster. So if I'm running around with my regulator, more of a house war, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily take this with you for an outdoor war. You probably could and hit somebody. I mean, that's not something I would go against. But you wouldn't necessarily think, I'm going to take this as my sidearm. But the more I've been thinking about it, I probably genuinely would. I'm not someone who would ever take a sidearm to begin with. I'm too much of a selfish git to kind of stick to my primary in the first place. But so far, this is the only blaster that kind of looks appealing enough for me to go, yeah, I'll take that as my secondary. Because it's so easy to conceal, you don't need a holster, you can keep that in your pocket. If it comes to a scenario where I'm thinking, okay, reloading is going to be too much of an issue, I've got this small, compact, 4 darts, powerful blaster ready to go, only cost me £4. It's brilliant. Bizarre, beautiful, brilliant, and a near enough perfect budget blaster. So, my purchase recommendation, now that we are at the end of the video, is yes, the AlphaStrike line has put up some very interesting blasters. And I suppose the re-releases of some of them where it has these sort of guards around some of the areas, like the grips in particular, where they've actually got something more comfortable to hold on to. Again, that such a comfortable grip. It really is. In comparison to everything else I've held, I should say, especially recently. It's so nice. It's so nice. So yeah, it's amazing what a proper budget blaster can do in comparison to Elite 2.0, where it was budgeted because people were stingy. This is a budget on purpose, and it is brilliant. It's amazing for kids to get their way into the hobby because it's only a small blaster. It's cheap, so parents don't have to shell out a lot of money to be able to get them a blaster to get going. So yeah, all around, really good blaster. I don't see any reason not to get one of these. It's not exactly taking up any space in your arsenal either. It's a very small compact pistol. Somewhat forgettable in comparison to everything else that's out there, but even then, if you see one of these, don't skip it because, yeah, you know what? I wasn't going to do it. I hesitated for a second. I thought I probably shouldn't do that, but you know what? Sorry, I love this blaster too much not to kiss it. So there we go. That is one of the most interesting reviews I've ever done because it's such a weird blaster compared to everything else I've reviewed. Big magazine flywheel blasters, and yet that is one of my favourites. I love it so much. Maybe I should do a paint job of that in the future. Maybe one day. So there we go. Thank you all ever so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye bye.